GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
GUVI, a vernacular edutech brand, skilling everyone everywhere.
Hi Shoojit, welcome to Galata Plus.
Hello, thank you so much.
What is this new project of yours and why is it under so much secrecy?
No, it's not about the secrecy as such. There's nothing secret about this. It just thought we are starting out after a long time after COVID. Last time we shot a film was in 2019, 20 actually before COVID, and after that I've not shot anything. So it was just let's go and shoot and make the film, and and then we'll announce when the time comes. And also there were so many announcements every day coming in every week. So I think that's why my producer friend Ronnie might have thought ki let's release it and speak about it slowly whenever it comes.
No, but this never happens because the minute somebody is signed and somebody gets on a project, they say so and so, the announcement goes out.
Right.
This is like very rare.
I hope this works, those people are not just making. And also the problem also happens is everybody wants to know. I mean, I don't know, but when I story क्या है पहले बता अच्छा तुम film क्या देखेगा फिर it's like that. So nothing secret about it. It's just we thought let's not talk about it. When the time comes, we'll just tell people.
Right. So the film is done?
More or less, we are in the almost last couple of shots left, few shots.
Few days
but
of
a lot,
shooting left.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
all right.
a lot is covered already.
And
And we are in the post-production process.
And it has Abhishek Bachchan in
I
it.
said Abhishek Bachchan, yeah.
And
And nobody else at this moment. I mean,
it is a movie with the one person. It's like Yadein. There's Sunil Dutt's what was that movie, right?
no, there are many other actors to it.
And they've all signed a secrecy clause saying that I will not reveal my participation in this project.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's not that. I mean, just yes, predominantly it is Abhishek, so that's how it is. So there are many other actors and characters, but
none of whom
because people want to know who the known actors. Please tell us, if there is a heroine or not, all that. So I can only tell you that it's predominantly Abhishek. It's so author-backed, absolutely.
Okay. So you're making a film which stars Abhishek Bachchan, and there is nothing else you can tell us about it.
I can tell you it's again an ordinary life, like me only, simple. Like I said, not simple. I said the way you asked me that, why did you talk about the film, So, so it's pure slice of life, a life story about one of my friends. So.
Okay.
And
okay, I got one more piece of information.
Yeah,
it's about one of your friends.
Yeah, so it's going to be a little life journey.
Okay.
And
have you done anything autobiographical before? Something drawn from your. I mean, I'm sure every film has a little bit, but
a lot is the characters of Piku from Vicky Dona. October is almost all I have gone through, like Dan in with my mother. I've spoken about it also. Gulabo Sitabo is a pure. It can be a Lucknow film. It could be a Delhi film. It can be a Kolkata film also.
Yeah.
It's so yeah. Sardar Udham is only, I think, biographical, not
Yeah.
But more or less, a lot of the characters in my film have somehow been picked up from the people I know.
Right.
So that definitely has happened.
Now you mentioned Gulabo Sitapa in Lucknow. Now you studied in Delhi, so you know Delhi very well, right? It's like so I can understand. Vicky Donor is set in Delhi. Piku is set. I mean, at least it starts in Delhi. October is set in Delhi. So yeah, fine. But when you go to another place like Lucknow for Gulabo Sitabo, or for your first film, Yahan, Kashmir, or wherever you shot it, do you try to pick up the spirit of the place?
Yes, I mean, if you see in all the films, I mean, that space that we are in, that becomes also the character. Because if it's Vicky Dona in Delhi, then Lajpat Nagar is the flavor, if you see, of that. So that's one kind of a Delhi I know. In October, I have seen a Delhi which is also green and beautiful in winters, flowers, fog. If you see, that film is that. If you see Pink, where also I helped in the film and the creative process, is the violent, dark Delhi. How it can be, you know how Delhi is, where Gulabo was initially a Delhi.
Oh, that was the Delhi.
Yeah,
film.
because the old Delhi of Delhi has got quite a flavor of Lucknow also. If you go to the old, Delhi. So then it shifted to Lucknow. And I've been to Lucknow, and so it was not that difficult because I've been to Old Delhi. Old Delhi was for us our hub,
Right.
crossing over in universities from North Campus to South Campus. So it didn't take us much time, and of course, because GUVI was from there, so definitely that helped of understanding the language and the characters and casting them. So all that definitely helped.
Right.
But Lucknow also, I felt like an old Delhi.
No, but how do you pick up the, like
Okay.
Yaha, for instance?
For instance, I'll give you a Madras cafe. I shot it in Kerala.
Kerala, yeah.
Cochin and outskirts of Cochin, and we had to replicate Jaffna. Of course, we couldn't go to Jaffna. And also, I got a little criticism also in Madras Cafe. No, the topography is not that here and then. Of course, because I was shooting in Kerala and outskirts of Kanyakumari and Madurai to show Jaffna. So you will have to understand that place and have to go. Like for example, that why Jaffna and Kerala helped me is that I've been going through this Tamil issue, ethnic issue for a quite long time. And I've seen images and images after images on Illustrated Weekly or Indian Express. It is to be the front page images. So those images were quite stuck in my head. So in that sense, I could go there and plan out the locations, so that became part of it.
Now, apart from the locations themselves, your films have this texture of the city. Like you see, every film has outdoor shots, but when you do your outdoor shots, there's something specific that comes into them. It's like even if I've never been to Lajpat Nagar, let's say, I know it's a unique part of Delhi.
Yeah.
How do you capture that? Is what I'm trying to ask.
Well, of course, it is. It's been a process
Correct.
to capture and learning and getting things. So Ray Films has helped me there a lot.
Right.
I mean,
He's one of your great idols.
I'll always go back to his films.
Yeah.
Yeah. For example, in Oppu trilogy, when Oppu is in his teens, he goes to first time to Kolkata city, and he's not shown Kolkata city. Okay, starting with Howrah Bridge or this and that. He starts off with small lanes where he walks through. He goes to a press. There's he goes and works in that printing press. He goes into his college. Shots are not wide. Shots are narrow. But it just with the language of people and few things, he conveys that he's in a city somewhere. They're lying down outside the Ganges, somewhere in the park, just lying down in the park, and both the friends are talking about future.
Yeah.
Then he takes a train and comes back home, and then there's again that's village. Of course, the village is there in part one.
Yeah.
So I saw him that he never opened the frames just to show that okay, now you see where I am.
Yeah.
He's always kept it with the character and few touch of things.
Right.
Maybe that influence
Yeah.
is there in me, and of course I have tried quite hard to capture what he was looking at visuals.
Yeah, actually, when you say this, I'm reminded of that scene in Charulata where we see the streets outside her house
Yeah,
through
through
her
that,
house.
yeah.
Because she goes from one window to another window to another window to another window, and then like we see the outside from the inside.
Yes,
We never
exactly.
lose sight of the character.
Yeah, and you know where she is possibly,
Yeah.
what kind of a street it's going to be. So maybe that influence is there. I've tried in every film to, like even if you see Gulabo, I have never opened it too much.
Yeah.
I've kept it with the characters.
Right.
But it still feels Lucknow, some pieces,
Right.
horse, food, you can smell somewhere, the angan, the courtyard, or even the court, the court, the court was, few things, people walking in, very congested also.
Right.
So, but I didn't want to show a big shot. I always kept it narrow, but it translates and communicates where you are.
We spoke about race, so let's just expand on that. Now, in a promotional event for Pink, Amitabh Bachchan said that he's worked with many Bengali directors. He's worked with, he's provided a voiceover for Mrinal Sen movie. He's worked with Dulal Goa, Pramod Chakraborty, Rishikesh Mukherjee, who's again one of your idols. And then Shoojit, he mentioned you. And then he said something that there is a certain sensibility which Bengali directors have. They are able to touch a certain nerve. What do you think is that sensibility?
Maybe again, you know, coming from Bengali cinema and the influence of a Bengali cinema, not purely a Bengali cinema. I'm also influenced by Fellini and Buñuel also quite. The initial Iranian films, the way uh, it had an effect on me. I loved Sai Paranjpai. I loved her films.
They're amazing films.
There's
Everybody talks about Chashme Badur, but Sparsh is a masterpiece.
Sai Paranjpai, if you see her films,
Katha.
yeah, Katha, how simple that film was, how beautiful. I think simplicity, if you ask me, I think like Mrinal Sen is very stark.
Yeah.
Mrinal Sen is not
Very stark.
Very stark.
Yeah.
Images,
Yeah.
stories.
And very precise.
Yeah, very precise. And I think he's so sure of his identity as a political identity, ideology, whoever he was stark. He was. But on the other hand, whether it's Basu Chatterjee or Bimal Roy or Basu Bhattacharya and Ray himself, those simplicity must have been, there is something where it touches. And of course, Mr. Bachchan must have said it because he's got a little deeper connection with bongs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I see that simplicity in Malayalam films also, in Tamil
Yeah.
films also.
Yeah.
And a lot of
No, but I think there is something, because there are phases in Hindi cinema, right? There was a phase when a lot of Punjabis came in, and Hindi films began to look like they had that Punjabi flavor. Now, I'm not comparing which is better, worse, whatever it is, but I'm just saying there was a certain Punjabiness to the imagery, to the colors, the clothes, and so on and so forth. In comparison to that, after that, when you come with Yahan, or even though it has nothing to do with Bengal or nothing to do with like a thing, but the way you say the story is so stark. Stark is the word actually. It just seems very fresh and new, because suddenly there's a new way of seeing things that was not there like a few years earlier.
Right.
Might have been there many years earlier.
Right.
But I think that's what you're kind of.
Before I came to feature film in Mumbai, I used to make documentaries. So in Delhi, I assisted Deepak Roy. He was a very prominent documentary filmmaker, and he made various kinds of, in many subjects he made documentaries. So I was there, part of the,
Right.
and documentary team is a very small team.
Yeah.
Normally, you are the assistant camera, assistant director, you're everything, just cameraman, and there's one guy who's rolling and one sound,
Yeah.
and director. Those documentary days of mine, which I've spent interior of Kashmir, doing a Kashmir documentary, interior of Madhya Pradesh, doing in the villages and all, has given me some kind of an idea of how to look at things possibly.
Right.
If you see, there's a lot of documentation feel to it.
Right.
In Yahan, the army patrol is coming, so there are normal life is also going. These curfew people are constantly there, and they are in their duty. So I saw that, when we were there, and we could cross the army guys, they're just looking at it, holding the guns there, moving around. So those images came simply from there. The basic story of Yahan also came from a newspaper article. It came out that one army guy was on a curfew duty. He didn't know where to pee. So in the night, and if you go to Lal Chowk, it's house and houses and houses. You can't go in and pee. So he would knock at one door and go and pee, and that whoever in that house was, the old man, he would offer him a tea. And then this Jawan used to just knock the window, and this one hand would come out. Just one beautiful hand will come out and give the tea. And this Jawan fell in love with that hand. So that's how the story came out, and then whatever we built in was there. So these newspaper articles has helped me a lot, because I'm basically a documentary.
Right.
Film is my basic backbone.
Right. So there is one side of you that you clearly see, because even in something as dramatic as pico, and I mean dramatic in a low-key way, but there's drama happening. There is a lot of like very real-life details happening which are identifiable whether you belong to that particular social class or not. I want to go back to Yahan because on the one hand, it shows, I think for the first time I saw a film in which there is terrorism around, but the people have gotten so used to it that they're behaving very normally. I've never seen that in a film before because usually when it's terrorism, like everybody's scared or there's tension or there's, there's that like a something. But here you show like kids are playing, something is happening. You capture that aspect as well.
Right.
So that is the real life, maybe documentarian aspect of it. But in that same picture, you also have, there is one dialogue that I love and I've never forgotten. She slaps her head after mentioning Allah's name. And he says something like, Allah की गलती की सजा अपने माथे को क्यों दे रही हो? I think that's the line, which is a very crafted line, you know. That's not a, I mean, it's a lovely line, and but it's old Hindi cinema where we used to look for lines that had a certain way of craftedness in them. So I was like, how did you attain
Yeah,
this?
you have caught the right line for that line. We had debated for months. Piyush Mishra wrote the dialogue, so we had, and Piyush said, no, that will work. And he said, so I was also contemplating how to, play around with those dialogues. I have not done films, I've been quite comfortable. I have not done films which is out of my territory.
Right.
I have not experimented ever. I have done only the subjects and where I am comfortable and I've been through. So if you take Yahan and if there are militants who have just walked into a village, uh, when I was shooting a documentary in Charare Sharif, Charare Sharif was burnt at that time,
Right.
and there was when I was entering Charare Sharif at that time, that area, I saw the small boys who were playing like, marbles.
Yeah.
And I said they will look into, and we go into, there's a bread wala, there is a chai also, there is going into, and that armies also get out the entire thing place
Right.
because there is somebody
Right.
hold up inside. Like the RR force will go, and when they do a cover exercise, they'll cover, the villages will be brought out, they will admit one place, they will narrow down the house. So it was very normal, mundane kind of an everyday. I was once an experience to this, and I saw that, how they uh, get and also the political aspect on that film. How to talk about the Kashmir, the Kashmiris,
Right.
the armed forces, the militants, the women of Kashmir, what they want. So, like when I started talking to a lot of college girls there, just interviewing them before the. So I asked them, what is their one desire, So their one, of course, desire was to go to Bollywood, and see. And the second desire was wearing jeans. That they wanted to wear jeans at that they can't wear jeans and go out. So that's how that moment, that secretly then the packet they bring in is one pair of jeans, and they try and wear a jeans. So it came from
Yeah.
their research. So I said, okay, let's use this jeans as this song sequence, and then that's how I did it.
But that line, was it against Shoojit Sircar's sensibility?
I mean,
I think it's a beautiful line.
Yes, it is. But
Yeah.
maybe. I mean, that line may be a little shouting out, and also I also felt when I was shooting that, Manisha struggled a lot with delivering that line, and even Jimmy. It came out nice. I mean, it just didn't. But I remember when I was shooting, we were stuck with that line. Uh, you know, um, अल्लाह का burden अपने माथे पे क्यों ले रही हो तुम. So I mean, I'm also forgetting, but I think that with that line, me and Piyush Mishra had a long discussion whether to put that line the way it is.
Or
But
to
finally, he was adamant on it, so I said, okay, fine, Piyush, I will. And I had taken options for that also, but finally on the edit, this one went on.
Right. Speaking of dialogue, you once spoke of your regular collaborator Juhi Chaturvedi's lines that usually we write dialogues, but she writes conversations.
Right.
What is the difference between dialogue and conversation?
So, if you have conversations, then I also never understood the writing process when I started writing my, my cinema writing process. I never understood what is separately what you do dialogues for. You know, you can translate because we normally write the screenplays in English. Some in some cases, some scenes we write in Hindi also. Some scenes are they sound better in English. Some scenes sound very good in Hindi also. And then those English ones are translated or somehow we make a scene out of it. So what I mean by conversation was like for example, Piku, my brief was that don't stop just the scene. Keep writing. I mean, minimum say write for 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 13 minutes.
Wow.
So that's how, and the scene, all the scenes were shot like that.
Okay.
And it is, the dining table scene is actually a 14-minute scene.
The one with Maushmi Chatterjee.
Yes, exactly. It's a
Okay.
14-minute scene. And then we start. I said, so that I get the flow so well that, it's just a Bengali house dining conversation which is going on and which is small, one bit by bit by bit by bit. We are catching their past and their coming characters are slowly, uh, you know, uh, uh, becoming livelier. So we know each of them, the relationships, even if his father is speaking so much nonsense about his wife and the Piku is there, Ma, you don't speak like that, Baba, all that. So brief was to write just a conversations and conversations. That film was like that.
Yeah.
And all the writers in all the films that I worked, and my only brief was just write the conversation moment and you carry with it.
So
don't stop.
So you find the scene in the edit.
A lot.
Wow.
A lot on the edit and also when we are script editing the script also. Because the second round goes on editing the script. So when we are editing the script, then a lot many things come out.
Right.
But then we go into the shoot, a lot of actors we feel comfortable with that line, so I let it be. And then on the edit,
The actual
a
edit.
when we come to the edit room, that a lot of things gets.
But do you feel sad about losing flavor that way?
In the first film, I did, but then
Which was the first film?
I mean the Yaha.
Yaha. Okay, right. Oh, so even for Yaha, you had longer.
Yeah, a lot.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
right,
3.5 hours. So it was so.
Wow. Yeah.
So a lot of men. So, that one film, what I learned was that there are so many things um, that sometimes we try to underestimate the intelligence, and try कि थोड़ा explain कर देते हैं, इसको underline कर देते हैं, इसको वो कर देते हैं. And now I go back, I find a lot of stupidity also, foolishness in terms of, I did that. I did those blunders.
Can you give me an example?
No, there are many of them. I can't, but I really have found really big blunders, which like in film October, I have corrected them. And when I corrected them, then people started telling me your films are slow and this and that. I said, fine, let it be slow. But it serves my purpose that of, I am evolving or not. That's more important. From those mistakes, I have learned that no, it's okay if you compromise on some scenes or some beautiful shots you get out. It's fine as long as you are on your
Right path.
narrative, right narrative.
So would you say October is your best film?
No,
Or at least the film that came closest to what you wanted to do?
no, in that sense, no, it's very difficult. But that sense, I'd say Gulabo and Udham is also very, very, I think, very close to me, because I think in Gulabo also I was very much there. We started with that Chekhovian kind of
Right.
writing and storytelling, but yeah, you can say, I mean, October, Gulabo,
So
Udham.
your newer set of films are closer to what you want to do than your older set of films. So you're talking about evolving. This is evolving, right?
Yeah, I mean, even Piku is also an evolving, because doing such a mundane world.
Yeah.
When we started off, it was just about father and daughter, and father is just constipated, and that's the film.
Right.
To build it on with those everyday mundane early morning dining living room of a Bengali house was boring. At some point, I could see people were moving. What's next? So, but I loved that.
Yeah.
I love that conversation.
People are shifting in Pico. That's, I think,
No, because a lot of things, a lot of people thought it's a Bengali film. So,
Wow. Okay.
but I tell them, no, it's not a Bengali film. It's every household film. So, but yes,
Yeah.
it is a Bengali household. But I think you will find this in every drawing room.
Right. Another thing that you find in your films, or we find in your films, is however serious the story is. I mean, October is a very serious story, right? It's like this guy and this girl who is in a coma. You always manage to find some humor in it. Not like comedy, but like little things that are happening which go against the flavor of the movie, but at the same time blend into it. One is that something you set out to do deliberately? Because is it like to kind of balance it out? I mean, what is the reason for that? Because you can do it wholly serious also. And secondly, is your new film, does that also have that flavor?
Oh yes, my new film. You will find those laughing at yourself, basically nothing else. So I have the humor of life.
Right. Wow, I
So,
got one more piece of information about your new film.
so no, I'm saying it's there, everyone.
Right, right.
Like you give an example of
Yeah,
October.
yeah.
Yes, I mean, what will you do? I mean, I have my experience in a hospital where, you sleep there, you eat there, the canteen wala becomes your friend. You talk to the nurse like that because they're seeing you every day coming and going. So that is your world.
Yeah.
You have no connection with the outer world. What is going on? You just want to come back there. So, so, so those life hilarious moments, I surely see it like this. I
Right.
mean, for me, everything is a quite humor. So nowadays, somebody is going hyper on something, I start laughing. मैं तो कर क्या रहा है? मैं देख के हंसता हूँ उसको. So I have seen like that. In Kolkata, actually, a lot of life is like that. If you go to Delhi, a lot of things are like that. Every character you find in Delhi, वो कुछ ना कुछ एक कर रहा है वो क्या कर रहा है, you don't know. And if you just distance yourself and watch it, you will have a smile. Like, for example, in the Piku, in the even initial sequence in Piku's house, it happens in everybody's. If you yourself also put a camera and see first 2 hours in the morning what everybody does in the house,
Right.
it's those everyday same thing you're talking,
Right.
and you same things you are doing, and you will smile at this is bullshit what we're doing. We are just. So I just wanted to, not in that film also, that film and everywhere else,
Yeah.
I see it with this lens.
Yeah, probably with the exception of Pink, which is like a thing. With that one exception,
Yeah,
almost
Pink.
everything else there is
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Pink also was a because the incident in the Pink of Tony also, got the idea from Delhi, but that has happened with me, with my friends
Right.
in Delhi. So then when Ritesh was writing it, so we knew that, because he's lived in Delhi, I have also lived in Delhi. So we knew how terror it was, how terrifying for those girls who have passed and gone through this kind of a situation with a big political family's son. So
Right.
you know what's going to. So we knew. I've been to police stations to sign for a lot of friends.
Right. Now, Shujit, one thing is, you just mentioned that it's like you try to capture the mundane, the everyday life, right, of something. See, most movies, what they do is because there's only about 2 hours or 2 hours, 15 minutes or something like that, they're very plot driven because what's next, what's coming next, what's coming next, what's coming. So that's like every scene is calculated to kind of move the machine forward, right? The narrative machine needs to be moved forward. But your films do that also. But I'm asking, how do you balance this thing of there is apparently nothing happening, yet something is happening? That balance in the screenplay, how do you get that? That's really unique in your films.
Yeah,
Do
but
you get what I'm,
yeah, I know.
yeah.
They are not too plot driven.
Plot driven, yeah,
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 they're
yeah.
not plot
But at the
driven.
same time, there is a forward motion.
I think maybe because all the films, and especially which are picking up the characters, it's always started with that one line,
Okay.
that one thread. Okay, this is Shivli and this is Dan, and my brief was I wanted to make a love story where the unconditional love between these two characters and all about comatose. Now,
Right.
was the thing. Now we are building on this the story, in the story or the
Right,
entire
right.
film, whatever
Right.
going through. So what I've tried is I've always in the screenplay has gone into the way it's coming in.
Right.
It's not that now the drama should move here, now the drama should move there. Apart from that, in Gulabo Sitabo, that sudden jerk that that Amitji's Begum has ran away with the other. It's a sudden letter that she was clever, she was putting her in her mind. I don't think there is any other sudden shock value kind of a thing
Right.
on the script. It's very difficult to pinpoint this, how and why. I mean, you don't have too many dramatic music to go or shift to the next scene, or you have a dramatic scene coming up. I Maybe it's just I am
Instinct?
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
I am like that. I love to go easy one by one, move and say some things. And also I have to give it to the credit of learning all this from world cinema.
Yeah, yeah,
World cinema has this quality of not hurrying you up.
yeah.
So
What is it that you like about Fellini's films? I'm not able to see a connection at all.
yeah, that's no. I think he definitely thought out of the box.
Right.
My favorite is Seven Seal.
Bergman's.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, the Bourbon Seven Seal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that's also one of favorite film. Of
Again, I
course,
see no connection between that and your work at all.
no, I have a fascination of playing with life and death, like in Piku. That
Wow, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
okay.
I am more fascinated with with death. So that always, so in Piku you will see that a lot many time it comes.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
In October also you will
Yeah,
find it
yeah.
coming through.
Yeah, even in Gulabo.
Yeah, even Gulabo also. The climax of Sadar Udham has got
Yeah.
a lot of death somewhere, as I've got a lot of fascination, not fascination with, I'm fascinated with it, and I read a lot about it, where and how and why. So, uh, you know, is that the ultimate truth or not? Right. So that's what can this be celebrated than being morose? Can death be celebrated?
So, can we say that your favorite Hrishikesh Mukherjee film is Anand? Because I'll tell you why. So, I'm deducing this, right? Death, humor in a serious situation, because that is a very funny movie.
Yeah.
Like that is that one of your favorite films?
Yes, it is. I mean, of course, Anand is one of uh, very good films of Rishikesh Mukherjee. So I think yes, it is somewhere, and it has come from many other films. But yes, Rishikesh
Yeah,
Mukherjee
yeah,
Anand
yeah.
is there. But I am little curious about death.
Right, right. That even has that line, "Maut to ek kavita hai."
Yeah, exactly.
That's
yeah.
I think Amitabh Bachchan says that. If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Exactly.
So,
And even in Piku also, there are a lot of moments where he talks about death. Like Irfan's father, when
Yeah,
he
yeah,
talks,
yeah.
उसको इतना तकलीफ हुआ होगा, ये हुआ होगा,
Yeah,
तुम ये
yeah,
किया,
yeah.
तुम वो किया होगा. Piku, don't put me there in the ICU, and your tubes नहीं लगाना मेरे को,
Yeah,
all that.
yeah.
So you will see that there is some kind of he's also a little, so this is kind of a celebration of a death, of Bhaskar's death.
Right, right.
I've tried there.
Yeah.
That,
No, and you succeeded. I
Yeah.
mean, that's Piku's it's one of those, it's exactly like what Hrishikesh Mukherjee did, which is like try to present a very, very lifelike movie with dramatic high points.
Right,
And,
yeah.
that's, I think, like, but when you write, you say that you try to write in a very organic manner, you try to find without having fixed point. But in our movies, we have this big thing called the interval, right? So you have to have a little high before that. Do you keep that in mind while you're writing?
No, not at all. It's a
Even
full,
the interval you find.
yeah, on the edit table, on the so in Piku,
You find the interval on the
on
edit
the
table?
edit table, yes.
Like actually, you mean the final edit?
While final edit table.
Oh my God.
Okay, yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
ah.
So because I've always done the scripts with like like a 2 hour, 2.5 hours, full length feature film.
Right.
So
So
interval.
you don't break at all?
No, no, we don't break at all. We
So
just,
when I read one of your scripts, there is no word
no
called
break,
interval.
no break. It's quite annoying also
Oh,
for us to break. And like in October, I had asked my producers Ronnie and Sheel Babu that can can you talk to the theaters that there should not be any break, because as soon as you break, I think this film's mood will be lost. So then break's not possible. So
Right.
so that's how now. Even if you don't break,
they break it.
yeah, there's some.
But you were saying something about Pico.
Pico interval point, my editor suggested. So he said this knife scene is the best place to break. So I thought, okay, nice, good. Let's go for this. Same with all the other films. Mostly he has suggested somewhere, I have suggested. So that's how the interval point has come. But I've never written with a interval in mind.
Wow. I'm saying the word wow so many times because everything is a little new to me. This, like, the way you work.
This is all because of when I go and watch a film in a festival, there's no break.
Right. No, yeah, yeah. Or any foreign country.
There's no break. And festival films has been quite a big influence on me. So I
Right.
have seen those films like that. So it's difficult for me to think with a break.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, Hrishikesh Mukherjee started an Udham Singh film
Yes.
called Man of India.
Oh, yeah.
And it had Parikshit Sahni in the lead.
Yeah, I know that.
You've seen it?
No.
Okay.
I
I was
know
just
about
curious if anybody's seen it. So.
No, I don't. Gulzar Saab was also involved in that film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Gulzar Saab. No.
I think somebody completed it later, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe Gulzar Saab completed it.
Oh, he did?
I
Okay.
think so. Gulzar Saab did that. I have only seen glimpses of it, but I have not seen the film. Yeah, I know that Gulzar Saab made a film on Siddhartha.
Yeah. Also, there is another common thread in your films where, because they are so character driven, you balance the internal journey of the characters with the external journey of the plot. And though this may seem like a very obvious thing, like every movie does that, every movie doesn't do that because they have just enough character to move the plot to the next place. They don't have, like, if I need the girl to kill somebody, then I just tell that, okay, I just give one little psychological shade at that point so that the audience says, acha ye kar sakti hai. But your films kind of go forward with that balance, that internal and external journeys very well, in the sense that it's almost impossible to say how the next scene will shape up, is what I'm trying to say. Again, how do you like that? Again, that organic process?
I would say that that internal journey is very, very important. I think I'm also when I'm also conducting the filming process, and the actors and the performances. So that those simple lenses and the gaze, they're looking at each other, or even talking, and at what point there is a kind of an hold, and when the camera is just holding on and not doing anything, but then it's going internal, but it's talking. Uh, that's very important for me. I think that's most important for me.
Okay.
So those moments I absolutely enjoy. Where if she is looking at the camera, or he is looking at the camera, or the character, and I'm holding on to those shots. Irfan does it beautifully. He does these. Like for example, I'll give you a very small example of October. So now, I in that one particular, I thought this particular scene is most important, but in that scene there is no dialogues. It's the scene where the first time Dan has come back from his holidays, and his first time has come to know that Shivli has fallen. Shivli has fallen, and he has to go into that ICU to see. So everybody has seen. Now he is going. That's where the turning point of the film is actually, where he could not believe that, that crashed face, those threads and everything is, I mean, you cannot believe that that beautiful Shivli is that girl who's lying down in the ICU. So I planned out how to shoot that sequence. I thought if I tell him and show him, I won't get that confusion, because I need Dan to be confused what did he see? And that stays with him. He is going home, if you see. So what I did was I didn't show him the character, we didn't do rehearsals. So I just blocked the cameras and places, and I told my cinematographer, we will shoot the sequence. Let him explore the hospital, walk from the corridors, let's give him the bed number. And we rehearsed it with the other actors so well, with the nurses and the doctors, that for him it looked like a real ICU. And he walked in and he stood there. Whatever you see, it's a sheer shock of Varun Dhawan, not Dan, that he's looking at that face, and the makeup was also very good, all that. And he didn't know what to do.
Varun hadn't seen this before?
No.
Okay.
It's just, I told him, she's in bed number 8, you go and see her. So he says, what I do and all that. I said, no, you see what? I have not written the scene like that. You just go and see.
Right.
So that scene is completely a spontaneous capture. And if you go back and see that particular scene with that lens, you will see him completely shocked and confused. He doesn't know what to do. He asked me once, after holding the shots for almost 7-8 minutes, he asked me, Dada, what to do? Ab main kya karu? And I told from behind the camera, I don't know what you're going to do. That's how I'm communicating. Then he goes near, he drops the card, something happens, and then he turns back and comes out. It was just first take, one take. Some shots are out of focus also. But I kept it because I wanted that, that internal journey without going in there, just hang on there.
Right.
So that hanging on there is very important for me.
Right.
And that when the script is being done, it's there in my head that how I'm going to get that and capture that.
Right.
It may not be there on the script, but it's there in my head how much I'm going to hold on there.
Right. Now, when you focus, when you train, when you put the lens on a face, right, and let it linger on the face, and you show that to the audience. Now, if the person is telling a dialogue or telling a line, then the audience knows that this is what they're thinking, right? But when you show just the face, different members of the audience could project different things onto that look. How do you factor this into your...
Well, on this, I'll have to say that some of the most important lines which a character should say in my film has been off camera.
Right.
So otherwise, it will be like on camera, on the shot. A lot of very important plots of the film, what you say, or the lines which a character should tell the other, has many times been off camera.
Can you remind me of something like?
Like even the Piku also, when Irfan is going away, oh, is a meditation karti ho? Because he's seen the house and what, and he does, and then he says bye and goes out. I mean, that depart of two were very important, but the way I shot it, but yes, ye karti hai, ye karti. I mean, usi mein hi, if you see that something happened there,
Right,
in that scene,
right,
whether it's Piku, Deepika, and whether it's Irfan, whether he said bye, where's go. I just felt that something happened there.
right, and you trust the audience that they'll get it.
Of course.
Right.
Of course, that I have learned slowly, that I have to make the film more, not underline it as much I can.
Right.
Sometimes with the pressure you do it, ये समझाना चाहिए, इसको बता देना चाहिए, But I'm reducing it slowly now.
While looking up things for this interview, I found this very interesting quote of yours that you make only masala films. This quote says, Vicky Donor, Madras Cafe and Piku are all masala films. If I try anything else, I will fail. How do you define masala?
No, I mean, I don't know in what context it came on, but because somewhere, if a Madras Cafe is all about the assassination plot,
But for the record, I think if well made, I think masala is a good thing. You know, so I'm not
Yeah,
against
no,
it.
no, no, of course. I'm not saying in that sense. It's a term that's been given,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I might have quoted with something. It's nothing of that sort. I mean, for me, Pother Pachali is the biggest masala film for me ever, you know, so it's not.
In what sense?
It drives me, it moves me every time.
Right.
Every time I've watched that film, or Meghe Takatara by Ritik Ghatak, you just sit there and, you know, for some time you can't do anything. Even if you're going and cooking in the kitchen or doing something, you're dazed with it. So maybe that's
That's
what the context I mean to say to be a masala film.
gripping.
Yeah, gripping is also like my films are not gripping. Also, I would not say. I mean, it's
Well, if you're following a narrative, that's a gripping.
yeah,
right?
of course, that's
Yeah.
following a narrative is gripping. I mean, context to the populist cinema gripping means. I'm not saying that, but what I mean to say is, it just you stay with it and it something happens to you. I would say that.
Right.
It should make a little difference because it is somewhere down the line cinema, even if it's just storytelling, it is somewhere a director is having a conversation with you. He's having a conversation with you, really like-minded people, and he's talking to those,
Right.
you know, talking to that. The medium could be this, but it's talking, conversation. So in that conversation, I really feel that, you know, whoever is watching that film should get something and should feel that, okay, let's talk. Like I said, let's talk about death, you know,
Yeah.
what is all about. So I want that something. So all the films of Ray's or Woody Allen, all they kept talking to me as who that person is also as a director.
Yeah.
So I think that's important,
That's important.
to be responsible also.
Right. We've heard a lot of stories about you enacting scenes, whether it's with Deepika and Piku or Varun or other people. What is it that you get while enacting scenes? Because it seems to me that when you show them precisely how something should be done, that's the first thing they're going to do. Whereas your writing is the exact opposite because you're following a very organic process of finding stuff. So I was like a little confused. Can you explain that to me?
Because I've already made the film when I am writing.
Okay.
The film is already done.
It's in your head fully.
Yeah,
Start to finish.
Yeah, start to finish. The film is there on my head and in that script. The
Right.
film is ready. Now I have to just get the execute it now. So that's why, and also being from theatre. So actively I've done theatre in Delhi for many. So naturally those scenes, the essence of those scenes which I have written, the actually the fanatism of those scenes, you know, how the character should be, how much cacophony it should create, what's the level, tonality. I try. There are many times Irfan would come to me and say, Dada, do not perform. You know, sometimes I had a habit of taking the scene and performing, moving. So I said, don't perform. I said, some scenes I did not perform. I said, okay, you do it. But when I'm reading out to them is also a performance. So I have performed scenes in front of Mr. Bachchan, in front of Deepika, everybody, all the actors, I do perform. And sometimes Mr. Bachchan will look at me, you know, you want to act? I said, no, I don't want to act. I just want to do that scene so that it gets to him clearly or anybody else. So just my scripts, my scenes, it's so precise that you have lived with it. So you exactly know how much to walk and how much not to walk. But I don't block them as such. Normally my blocking is never that I perform.
Like you gave that example of the Varun scene and
Yes, it was.
October.
My blocking is not that. It's just, he'd ask me what I said. I don't know. I mean, you've just heard of it. Just to prepare the actor to just go there, you know.
Right.
And also, Varun came with a lot of baggage also on that film because of the kind. So, and this film he had to unlearn a lot of things. So I had to take him through. For example, in Piku, or say for example Sadar Udham. Now in Sadar Udham, the last 50 minutes of the film, where I am on the Jallianwala Bagh with the 90-year-old boy. Now Vicky would come every time. I said, Vicky, don't put your head into that, neither I am going to put my head into that, because as a 19-year-old you will not know what to do. You will just react. You will just react. So I'll put the cameras from here and bodies and all. I just tell him, okay, I have got 5 bodies. How you do it, it's your reactions. Because this particular night you never picturized, nobody had seen this night.
Right.
A couple of things, some visuals were in my head, I will tell him. But then whatever he did was, he put it in his head, he's a 19-year-old Udam. Now the way he's getting tired, the way he's asking, the way that innocence, the purity that he of a 19-year-old, I thought he brought it quite well on those
That you
particular
did
moments.
not enact and
No.
Right.
No. But you still put that in the head, maybe how you fall, how you push that cart,
Right.
where to get that cart
Right.
from, what is your internal thinking going on. Sometimes you have to perform. Of course, you are feeding the data in the head.
Right. So they can take it further.
Yes, exactly. So you will have to do that, prepare.
Right.
So because in my set, the one most good thing is that because it's a chaos on set when he's doing it. So and especially here, the sets are really chaotic, and I hate that. I want my set to be really. So I also enter the set after I briefed the beginning part. Okay, this is the thing. I go out.
Yeah.
So when the lighting is going on and all that, I'm stay out of
Right.
it. I said, give me peace. So then once the actor walk in, everything is shuts down. When actor walks in, I said, shut down everything. All go away. I've given you enough time. Now get lost. Let me just shoot the scene the way I want to.
Right.
So I give that space.
Right. Most of your films, with the exception of 1 or 2, have multiple music composers, 2 or 3. And Anupam Roy was, I think, in one film he did all the songs,
Yeah.
but otherwise all your films have these multiple composers, right?
Right.
What is your attitude towards music? Because, of course, in the olden days, they picked one music director and they would make all the songs for the film, right? Because they wanted that one person's sensibility. What is the logic behind going after 2 or 3 different composers?
My whole focus on the music is basically the score. So background score becomes a very, very important factor. If you see all the films that I have, that theme is very important. So either I create the theme and then I go for the shoot, like Shantanu will create a theme, or
Shantanu Moitra.
Shantanu Moitra, or even Anupam Roy, he'll create the theme and then I went. So all the films, one theme I've created before. So my whole focus is on the score is very, like if you see many of my films score, I've released the score more than the songs. So rarely in some films the songs have also played well, like Vicky Donor, Panida. So I've uh, added that as that he also strums guitar and he's singing. I've tried to shoot that in as organic as possible. It just one song I like from there, one song I like from there. That's how it has happened. This fits. I would request, okay, you do the score. Shantanu will do the score. He'll also do one song. Somebody else will do the track. So I don't know why, but I think it's just a choice of music and songs.
But when you know that, for example, Shantanu is doing a good job with the song and the score, why not I'm just curious as to why would you invite another person into the process? Just like, why would that happen?
I mean, I would like, for example, in I think in Pink, I think Shantanu did the track also. And did we do another track? I think so. We did some other track, and also the score part of it. Because when we were editing, we knew the score beforehand. I don't know why I go. Maybe it's just a song I like. Maybe the composer comes up with something.
Right.
And sometimes you have a little pressure of a promotional song, which if a film does not have the song, but it's a promoted song. In October we have one promotional song, but we don't have the song in the film.
Right. What are your thoughts about background score and emotional manipulation?
It's very important, I think.
Okay.
I think background score is also your very important backbone narrative, like the location or the cast. I think score is very important to the milieu of the narrative that you're doing. If you see a score, you can sense it is trying to push you to be sad, to push you to dramatize or make it grim. And in my films, I have tried music to be as much blending that you don't hear the background score.
Right.
So that's what my aim is all the time. Yes, sometimes I go here and there, but predominantly, if you ask me as a maker, I would want that my scores are not heard. It
So-
just melts there, just there. Due to certain formats, shifting from like film to OTT to television, in transfers, sometimes right speakers, what speakers, sometimes it is that it's shouted out, in uh, Gulabo Sitabo, the background score in the beginning and couple of places, it was shouting out because I didn't know the OTT mix. Now after that film, I realized the OTT mix is a little different. Then I gave them one more, cut, that you replace this cut with that. They did that, but still I could not sort that out. Maybe it was in the inception itself, the kind of music that I've scored.
Right.
Maybe I should have done that. Now I take care of that. So that technology has sometimes been little.
Right, right. But what you're basically saying is, I want my audience to be manipulated by the score, but invisibly.
Absolutely invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always, and
Okay.
that's and also that score can work independently for you, not just it's if it's a piece of music, if it can transcend and if it can take you, if it can lift you,
Right.
that's what I would want that music piece to be.
Right. One of your statements is, I can't make a wiki donor again. I don't have it in me anymore. Why don't you have it in you anymore? Is it because you feel that's very obvious a film?
Yeah, I think so, madam. I definitely, once I've made that film, I anyway gets a little exhausted also.
Right. I'm not asking about a sequel.
I know.
Something along that flavor.
I really get bored of same subjects, same things to talk about. When I finished this film, Madras Cafe, they said, why don't we do part 2? Because part 2 of Madras Cafe, the investigation, is also a very, very interesting story. Piku, what happened to both of them? It's a fantastic, they're very good pair, something or maybe not just sequel,
Yeah.
but I think similar
Right.
zone. I don't know why I'm not. I will do it. It's not that. It's not that I am. If I get this right subject with just a similar genre, you can say,
Right.
I will do it. I mean, it's not. I am not very.
Rigid about
Yeah,
it.
not
Okay,
rigid,
okay. Yahan released in 2005, and then Wikidona 2012, I think. In the middle, there was Shoe Bite that you did with Amitabh Bachchan. It got shelved, delayed. Whatever happened to it happened. As a filmmaker, what advice would you give to other filmmakers who are stuck in a limbo for a long time?
I was stuck. I was stuck quite badly. Because Yaha, when released, there was Mumbai floods, and also it was, in first 3 days, it was just a washout. And then I do a film with a mega star, Amitabh Bachchan, and it doesn't release, and it's not released. It's still.
It's complete though.
Yeah, it's complete. Yeah.
It's waiting for release.
Yeah, I mean, it's waiting, but it's going through a lot of
Yeah.
legal issues. Yeah. So anyway, so that was a bad period, bad, phase. That's quite dangerous that you go through. I, 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 I don't think anybody should go through that. But what I have, carved. So I would come, I'll sit, I would not do anything, keep thinking about that film, talking for years, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010. So my wife told me, you know how to make a film, so go make a film. Why are you holding on to one film? Why are you holding on and sitting? Just move on. If not, start again, restart. So she gave me that one push to to restart. I said, yes, fine. I mean, I know how to make a film. So, because you get blocked suddenly. You
Right.
get colored with that,
So you
and
spent
blinded.
5 years just.
Just holding on, nothing
Yeah.
else. Just, just
How did you get through that black phase, that dark phase?
football.
Okay.
And I don't know. It was quite disturbing. It was definitely quite disturbing. Um, you will have to fight your own with yourself. You have to keep fighting with yourself.
Yeah.
I think maybe those years has brought the possibly some humor in me that you saw in Vicky Donor. One of my assistants said, "Why don't you do humor, sir? When you talk in the office or while in the shoot and all, and everything is all about live humor. Why don't you try it in the film?" One of my assistants, Prashant, he told me. So I said, "Yeah, you're right. I mean, I really didn't think like that." And of course, so that's how, when I jumped into it, when I just crossed that line, I said, okay, this is the subject, is my next film. You're scared, and again, you are getting into a subject which is so much, is so-called taboo,
Yeah, yeah.
and then it happens. So, but I said, okay, now I've taken the front foot, let me take the front foot.
Nice, nice. Now, your new film is going to come out. There is this general perception, there's a lot of uncertainty in the industry about what works and doesn't work, right? Now, at one point, films like Piku and Nirja, all these mid-range films, I would say, they were actually making money. They were like, people were going out and watching them. Now people are not so sure. What is your take on this? It's like, how do you look at it?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a concern in my head too, because how is the audience temperament is changing with films, and especially the post-COVID thing. What's working? Last year the way the big populist films, the way they have worked, and some of the very good films could not make it through. So it's a concern. There is a lethargy. And there is an OTT where people are comfortable that, okay, let this film come on OTT, I'll watch it. Cost factor. So all these things are there, and of course, and my last two films were OTT releases, and theatrical release is going to be now. So this film is going to be a theatrical release.
Gulaba was OTT.
Yeah, and even
That was it. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
also
yeah,
it could
yeah.
not. In the last moment,
Yeah,
it could not,
yeah,
because the halls could not, and I could not hold on to the film.
Yeah.
I had to, let it go. So it was made for a theatrical release, shot like that. But whatever happened, happened. But it reached quite, because of OTT and Amazon put it in 190 countries, so it reached a lot.
Right.
But what concern that you're saying, that what's working and what's not working on all that calculation is somewhere haywire at this moment. We'll have to go through it. I'll have to drown in it and see where I go.
With a sense of humor.
Yeah, with a sense of humor. Yeah, I'll find surely my like-minded people who would, I connect. That I will definitely, I'm sure I'll find. But that little bonus, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll find it or not.
So thank you so much, Shoojit. I learned a lot in this interview. Thank you so much, and all the best for your secret project with Abhishek Bachchan.
With Abhishek Bachchan. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure talking.
GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
GUVI, a vernacular edutech brand, skilling everyone everywhere.